I don't know if I can keep my mouth shut the rest of my life about this.
Nearly 7 years ago, 59-year-old Aimee Stephens was fired from her job as a funeral director, and she's been locked in a legal battle ever since.
Your life is what they are talking about in the Supreme Court of this country.
It is my life, but it's also a lot of other people's life.
In 2013, Aimee told her boss at RG and GR Harris Funeral Homes in Garden City, Michigan, that she is transgender and planned to start coming to work dressed as a woman.
I wrote a letter. Dear friends and co-workers, what I must tell you is very difficult for me, and it's taking all the courage I can muster. I have a gender identity disorder.
Did you worry that it could mean the end of your job?
I knew it was a possibility, but I also knew I couldn't keep doing what I was doing.
Aimee grew up as Anthony and says she always felt different, but lived as a boy and even married. Donna says she didn't know about Aimee's struggles until 10 years into their marriage.
How did you realize that there was something going on?
I could tell that Aimee at that time was getting quieter.
I was scared to death that if I told her, I'd be out on the street.
Aimee eventually told Donna the truth, and despite the initial shock, the couple remained married.
Did you grow suicidal?
Yes. I stood in the backyard with a gun to my chest. Within an hour, I realized I couldn't go through with it. I was important enough to keep going. And continuing on meant I had to come out.
Completely.
To the rest of the world.
After she was fired, Aimee filed a sexual discrimination lawsuit. She argues Title VII of the Civil Rights Act protects her because it prohibits discharging an individual employee because of their sex.
Are they a man? Are they a woman? You can't determine gender except by asking that question.
Lawyers for Harris Funeral Home say what matters is the meaning of sex when Congress enacted the law.
All Americans should be able to rely on what the law says, not what someone would like it to be.
It wouldn't have included anything having to do with gender identity or transgender status because those concepts weren't even in the American lexicon at that time.
Currently, 21 states have their own laws banning discrimination based on gender identity. If the justices agree with Aimee, the protection will be expanded nationwide.
This Supreme Court decision could come at any time. How do you feel about it?
We're going to keep fighting regardless of what the decision is.
More than 200 major U.S. and international corporations, including Comcast, NBC Universal, the parent company of NBC News, signed an amicus brief submitted to the court in support of Aimee and 2 other LGBTQ cases before the justices. A decision could happen any day, but both sides believe it won't be announced until late spring.
You know, this is the same Supreme Court that a few years ago legalized same-sex marriage. This would seem to be on its face, perhaps, an open and shut case.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of issues. I think one of them, distinctively, is the fact that there are people arguing that the Civil Rights Act did not specifically protect transgender people, and that what the Supreme Court would be doing would be effectively rewriting that law if they did this. And you hear judges talk about how they don't want to legislate from the bench, that this should be a question for Congress. That is a bit of the tension that is playing out at the Supreme Court over this particular case.
And any day now we could hear a decision, or?
Any day. I mean, that's the, you know, the history of the Supreme Court, that so we wait for them.
Like so many cases before the High Court will come down between those who view the document itself as some sort of living, breathing thing and some who view it as an evolving word.
Yep, and it will certainly be a lightning rod for the election.
Oh, that's true.
Yep.
Good story. Thank you, Stephanie. We'll be right back.